The DNA report was only 2 pages long, but it ended my marriage in one line. Probability of paternity, 99.9999%. Derek Ellison was the father. For weeks, my husband had called me a cheater while I was pregnant. He said I had embarrassed him. He said I had trapped him. He said I was trying to make him raise another man's child. He said those words with such cold certainty that even I started checking my own memories, as if pain could make me guilty. But when the official result came back, he did not look relieved. He went pale. Then he reached for the paper before I could fold it. "Mara," he said, lowering his voice, "we do not need to show this to anyone." That was the moment I stopped crying, because an innocent man would have been angry at himself. A loving husband would have apologized. A father would have looked at the proof and asked if the baby was okay. Derek only wanted silence. I held the report against my chest and looked at him like I was seeing a stranger wearing my husband's face. The test had proved I did not cheat. It had proved the child inside me was his. But somehow, that truth scared him more than the lie he had used to destroy me. And I felt it then, deep and sharp. This was not about trust. This was about control. If you have ever been blamed for something you did not do, tell me where you are listening from and what time it is there, because stories like this need witnesses everywhere. And if you want to hear how the truth comes out piece by piece, please subscribe when you are ready and stay with me. Because the DNA test was not the real ending. It was the first door. And once that door opened, I found out Derek had not accused me because he doubted the baby. He accused me because there was something else he needed to hide first. And the first clue came from what he did in the 10 seconds after I refused to give him the report. The 10 seconds after I refused to give Derek the DNA report told me more than the report itself. He stared at my hand like the paper was a weapon. "Mara, give it to me," he said. His voice was low, but his face had changed. The same man who had called me a cheater in our kitchen, in our bedroom, and through locked doors was suddenly scared of 2 pages from a lab. I did not move. I folded the report once, slid it into the side pocket of my purse, and kept my palm over the zipper. My hands were shaking, but I made myself breathe slow. I had cried enough in front of him. I had begged enough. I had defended my body, my baby, and my name until my throat felt raw. Now the proof was here. And Derek was not sorry. He took 1 step toward me, then stopped when I reached for my phone. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Taking a picture of the report," I said. "For what?" "So it does not disappear." His eyes flashed. That was the first, deeper clue. Not sadness, not shame, fear. He was afraid I would keep a copy. I took the picture, anyway. Then I emailed it to myself while he watched. I added the date, the time, and the name of the lab in the subject line. I did not know much about legal things then, but I knew one simple rule. If someone was trying to make the truth vanish, I needed to leave a trail. Derek rubbed both hands over his face. "You're making this bigger than it has to be," he said. I almost laughed. For weeks, he had made my pregnancy sound dirty. He had looked at me like I was carrying evidence against myself. He had told me no decent man would raise another man's child. But now that the official test proved he was the father, I was the one making it bigger. That answered one question from the moment before. The DNA test had ruined his accusation, but it opened a worse question. Why did he need the accusation so badly in the first place? Then his phone buzzed on the counter. He grabbed it too fast. Not normal fast. Panic fast. I only saw the screen for a second before he turned it face down, but I saw enough to make my stomach tighten. A calendar reminder. Call attorney before she changes her mind. I looked from the phone to his face. Before who changes her mind? Derek's jaw locked. "It's work," he said, but his voice did not sound like work. It sounded like a man trying to hold a door closed while something heavy pushed from the other side. I did not ask again. Not then. I picked up my purse, walked to the bedroom, and locked the door behind me. Then I sat on the edge of the bed, with one hand on my stomach, and the other on the zipper where the report rested. That was when I understood that our marriage had cracked long before the DNA test. I just had not heard it yet. And to understand why that reminder scared me so much, you have to know what life looked like before Derek called me a cheater. Before Derek called me a cheater, we looked like a normal married couple getting ready for a baby. That was the part that hurt the most later. There had been a time when he touched my stomach like it was a promise. He would stand behind me in the kitchen, rest both hands under my belly, and ask if I thought the baby could hear him yet. He would talk in a soft voice, like he was afraid to scare the little life growing inside me. At our first big appointment, he held my hand so tightly that my fingers hurt. When the doctor pointed to the tiny moving shape on the screen, Derek laughed under his breath and wiped his eyes before I could tease him. After that, he put the sonogram picture on the fridge. He circled my next appointment on the kitchen calendar. He even started calling the baby our little proof of forever. I remembered that phrase later, because the same man who said it became the man who demanded proof I had not betrayed him. Back then, I did not see danger. I saw stress. Derek worked long hours. He said money felt tighter now that we had hospital bills, baby furniture, and doctor visits ahead of us. So when he checked our accounts more often, I thought he was trying to be responsible. When he said we should keep better records, I agreed. When he asked about my appointment dates again and again, I thought he was nervous. When he wanted to know exactly how many weeks pregnant I was, I thought he was trying to understand the pregnancy better. I did not know those small questions would one day feel like pieces of a trap. Our home still looked peaceful. The nursery was half painted. A box of tiny white socks sat on the dresser. I had a list on my phone of things we still needed to buy. Bottles, blankets, a bassinet, diapers. Things that made the future feel real. Derek helped with some of it, but slowly his help changed. He stopped smiling when people congratulated us. He stopped putting his hand on my stomach unless someone else was watching. He kept his phone face down at dinner. He started stepping outside to take calls, even when it was cold. I asked him once if something was wrong. He kissed my forehead and said, "I'm just thinking about our future." That should have comforted me. Instead, I remember feeling a small pull in my chest, like my body knew something my mind refused to see. The sharpest change happened on a Thursday evening. I was folding baby clothes on the bed when Derek's phone buzzed on the nightstand. He was in the shower, and I was not trying to look, but the screen lit up, and I saw only 2 words before it went dark. Legal notice. I did not know what it meant. When Derek came out and saw me near the phone, his whole face changed. Not angry at first. Afraid. Then he smiled too fast and picked it up. "It's nothing," he said. "Just work." I believed him because I wanted to, but looking back, that was the first crack I should have heard. Because after that night, every small red flag started pointing in the same direction. After the night I saw the words legal notice on Derek's phone, I started noticing things I had ignored before. At first, they were small. He asked the same questions in different ways. How far along are you again? When did the doctor say the baby was likely conceived? Are they sure about the dates? I answered because I thought he was nervous. First-time fathers ask strange things. Pregnancy made everything feel new, even to me. So I told myself not to turn every question into a fight. But Derek was not asking like a man trying to learn. He was asking like a man checking a timeline. One morning, I found him standing in front of the kitchen calendar with his phone in his hand. My doctor appointments were circled in blue. My due date was marked with a little heart I had drawn months earlier. Derek was staring at those dates so hard he did not hear me come in. "What are you doing?" I asked. He jumped. Then he smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. Just making sure I know when everything happened. Everything. Not appointments. Not the baby. Everything. That word stayed with me. The money questions came next. He asked why certain charges were on our account. Prenatal vitamins. A maternity pillow. A blood test bill from the clinic. He wanted receipts for things he had never cared about before. Then he started talking about trust. Not in a sweet way. In a testing way. He would say things like, a marriage only works if both people are honest. Or, some women think pregnancy means they can hide anything. Or, men are always the last to know. The first time he said that, I looked at him across the dinner table and felt my baby kick under my ribs. It was soft, almost like a tap. I put my hand there, hoping the movement would remind him we were supposed to be happy. But Derek stared at my stomach like it had become evidence. Why are you looking at me like that? I asked. He leaned back in his chair. Like what? Like you're trying to decide something about me. His face hardened for 1 second before he covered it. I'm tired, Mara. That was his answer for everything. Tired, stressed, worried about money, worried about the future. But the more I looked back, the more I saw the pattern. He was not just distant. He was building a story. One small question at a time. One cold comment at a time. One strange look at my stomach at a time. And then, one night, he finally said it. I was folding the tiny white socks again, the same ones I had been folding when I saw that legal notice on his phone. Derek stood in the doorway, silent for so long that I turned around. His face was calm, too calm. Then he said, Mara, I need you to be honest with me. My hand stopped over the laundry basket. He looked at my stomach, then back at my face. Is that baby even mine? When Derek asked if the baby was even his, the room went so quiet I could hear the dryer turning in the hallway. For a few seconds, I could not answer him. Not because I was guilty, because the question was too cruel to fit inside my head. I was standing there with baby socks in my hands, carrying his child, inside the home we had painted and planned together. And he looked at me like I was a stranger who had tricked him. What did you just say? I asked. Derek did not look away. I said I need to know the truth. That was the first time he said it out loud. But after that, he did not stop. He asked again the next morning, then by text, then in the car outside the clinic. Each time, the words changed, but the meaning stayed the same. Tell me who the real father is. Stop making me look stupid. If you admit it now, this does not have to get ugly. The last message made my fingers go cold, because I had not done anything. There was nothing to admit. But Derek was not asking for truth anymore. He was trying to create a confession. That was when I started writing things down. At first, it was just for myself. A note in my phone. The date he first questioned the baby. The words he used. The times he brought up trust. The night I saw a legal notice flash on his screen. The money questions. The account checks. The way he suddenly wanted receipts for every small thing I bought for the baby. Then I added the doctor appointment dates. The due date. The day he stood at the kitchen calendar. The day he asked when the baby was likely conceived. I did not know what all of it meant yet, but seeing it in one place made my stomach tighten. It did not look like panic. It looked like preparation. Derek noticed I was quieter, and that made him push harder. One night, he stood in the doorway while I sat at the kitchen table with my phone face down under my hand. You know, a DNA test would settle this, he said. I looked up slowly. Then we'll do one. His expression changed, just for a second. It was not relief. It was surprise, like he had expected me to cry, beg, or refuse. I mean, he said, clearing his throat, we do not need to make it official. There are private ways. Private. That word landed hard. I remembered the legal notice. I remembered his phone turned face down. I remembered how fast he had moved when I saw too much. No, I said, if you want a DNA test, It will be official. His mouth tightened. Mara, you're making this worse. There it was again. The same sentence he would use later, after the report proved he was the father. I did not argue. I opened my notes and added one more line. Derek wants private test. Does not want official record. My hands shook while I typed it, but I felt something new under the fear. A small, hard piece of control. That night, after Derek went to sleep on the couch, I sat at the table and made a folder in my email. I named it Derek Timeline. Inside it, I saved screenshots of his messages. I saved photos of the calendar. I saved the clinic appointment dates. I saved anything that showed when his questions began and how fast they turned into accusations. By midnight, I had more than proof that he had hurt me. I had proof that he had been building something. And the next morning, when he sent me another message asking if I was ready to tell the truth, I finally understood one thing. I needed someone who knew how to protect the truth before Derek twisted it into a weapon. The next morning, I called Tessa Grant from my car. I did not call her from inside the house. I did not even sit in the driveway. I drove 2 streets away, parked near a small grocery store, and kept one hand on my stomach while the phone rang. Tessa was not a family friend. She was not someone who would tell me to calm down and pray Derek came to his senses. She was an attorney I found after searching for someone who handled family cases and knew how to deal with records, timelines, and false accusations. When she answered, I thought I would sound strong. I did not. My voice broke before I finished the first sentence. My husband says the baby might not be his. I told her, but I know it is. And I think he is trying to make me look guilty for something I did not do. Tessa did not rush me. She did not gasp or ask for gossip. She asked for dates. That alone made me feel steadier. When did he first accuse you? She asked. When did he ask about conception dates? When did he mention a DNA test? Did he ask for a private test or an official one? I opened the folder on my phone and read from my notes. The more I spoke, the quieter Tessa became. That matters, she said. What matters? The timing and the private test request. I looked through the windshield at the grocery store doors, sliding open and shut. People were walking in for bread, milk, and coffee, while I sat there trying to prove I had not betrayed my own marriage. Tessa explained it in simple words. If he truly wants truth, an official test protects everyone. If he only wants control, a private test gives him room to twist the story. I closed my eyes. That was what I had felt but could not name. She told me not to sign anything. Not a separation paper. Not a written admission. Not even a message that sounded like I was accepting blame, just to calm him down. Do not argue the truth in circles, she said. Preserve it. So we made a plan. Official DNA test only. Keep every message. Save every date. Write down every conversation as soon as it happened. Do not let Derek take the report. Do not let him rush me into a private agreement. Then I mentioned the words I had seen on his phone. Legal notice. For the first time, Tessa paused. Was that before or after he accused you? Before, I said. I think it was before. She went quiet again, and that silence scared me more than any question. Mara, she said carefully, I want you to write that date down too, exactly as close as you can remember it. Why? Because sometimes people accuse first when they are afraid of being exposed second. I did not understand the full meaning then, but I felt the air change around me. Before we ended the call, Tessa gave me one more warning. If his tone suddenly softens, be careful. A false apology can be another kind of pressure. I almost told her Derek would never do that. Then my phone buzzed. His name filled the screen. Derek, I don't want us to fight anymore. Come home tonight. We can talk calmly. Just you and me. For 1 second, I wanted to believe him. Then another message came through. Derek, I have something we can sign, so this does not get ugly. I went home that evening with Tessa's warning still in my head. If his tone suddenly softens, be careful. Derek was waiting in the kitchen. No yelling, no cold look, no sharp questions about the baby. He had made tea. That almost broke me. For weeks, I had been living inside his suspicion. Every room in our house felt smaller because of it. So when I walked in and saw him standing there with 2 mugs on the counter, looking tired and gentle, a weak part of me wanted to run straight back into the marriage I thought we still had. "I'm sorry," he said. I stopped near the table. He looked down like he had practiced being ashamed. "I let fear get in my head," he said. "I said things I should not have said." The apology was close to what I had prayed for, but it was missing the one thing I needed. He did not say, "I know the baby is mine." He did not say, "I was wrong to call you a cheater." He did not say, "Let's do the official test and clear your name." Instead, he pushed an envelope across the table. "I think we should make this easier on both of us," he said. My stomach tightened. "What is that?" "Just something simple," he said. "A temporary agreement." I did not touch it. Derek opened the envelope and slid out a few pages. The words at the top looked too clean, too prepared. Temporary separation agreement. He spoke quickly after that, like speed could make the paper less ugly. "We do not have to tell anyone. We do not need lawyers making this worse. We can handle it quietly. I'll help with medical bills. You can stay here for now, or we can figure out another place. But if this turns into a fight, Mara, nobody wins. Nobody wins." He said it like he was protecting us. But the paper was already printed. The lines for signatures were already marked. And my name was already typed beside his. I looked at the date in the corner. It was not from that day. It had been prepared before he sent the message asking me to come home. Before he apologized. Before he acted like he wanted peace. Maybe even before he demanded the official DNA test. My mouth went dry. Derek watched my face. "It's just a draft." "Then why is it ready to sign?" His jaw moved, but no answer came out. For a second, the soft mask slipped. Then he reached for my hand. "I'm trying to keep this from becoming humiliating for you," he said. There it was. The knife wrapped in kindness. For me, not for him. I pulled my hand back. "I'm not signing anything tonight." His eyes hardened. "You're making a mistake." "No," I said, and my voice shook only once. "I'm reading." I took photos of every page while he stood there breathing through his nose. Then I picked up my purse and went to the bedroom. The same room where I had once folded baby clothes and believed we were safe. Behind the locked door, I sent the pictures to Tessa. Her reply came 10 minutes later. "Do not sign." Then another message followed. "This document changes everything." Tessa called me before I could even ask what she meant. Her voice was calm, but sharper than before. "Mara, this agreement was not written like a sudden emotional draft," she said. "It looks prepared." I sat on the edge of the bed with the bedroom door locked, staring at the photos I had sent her. My hands were cold. What does that mean? It means he may have been planning the separation before he ever demanded the DNA test. The room seemed to tilt. For weeks, Derek had made me feel like the guilty one, like he was the wounded husband, and I was the woman who had broken our home. But that paper on the kitchen table had not come from pain. It had come from planning. Tessa told me we were done treating Derek's words like a private fight. "We move this into records now," she said. The next morning, she sent the first official letters. One asked Derek not to destroy or delete messages, drafts, financial records, or anything connected to the separation agreement. One asked for information about when the agreement was created and who helped prepare it. One requested basic financial records connected to any recent account changes. And one confirmed that if Derek wanted a DNA test, it would be official, documented, and handled through a proper chain of custody. That phrase sounded cold at first. Chain of custody. Tessa explained it simply. It meant nobody could claim the test was fake, switched, private, or misunderstood. The result would have a record behind it. For the first time in weeks, I felt the floor under me again. Not because I was safe, because the truth finally had a place to stand. Derek got the letters that afternoon. He called me 6 times. I did not answer. Then the text started. You got a lawyer involved. You really want to humiliate both of us. You think people won't ask why I question the baby. You're making yourself look worse. I read each message once, took screenshots, and sent them to Tessa. Then I put my phone face down. That was my small victory. Not shouting, not begging, not explaining myself again to a man who had already decided my pain was useful, just preserving the pressure he was putting on me. By evening, Derek came home and found me sitting at the kitchen table with a folder beside me. He looked at it like it had insulted him. You think paperwork makes you innocent? He asked. No, I said. The truth does. His mouth twisted. You have no idea what you're starting. Maybe he meant it as a threat, but all I heard was fear. He walked out before dinner and did not come back for hours. When he returned, he smelled like rain and car air freshener. He avoided my eyes, went straight to the bathroom, and locked the door. I did not follow him. I did not need to. The next morning, Tessa called again. I received something connected to the timeline. She said, my body went still. What kind of something? A notice, she said. It was dated before Derek accused you. I gripped the phone harder. A notice from who? Tessa paused, like she knew the name would change the whole shape of my marriage. Then she said, a woman named Sienna Vale. Sienna Vale. I did not know the name. At first, that made it worse. A stranger's name had entered my marriage through a legal notice, and that notice was dated before Derek ever looked me in the face and asked if our baby was his. I sat on the edge of the bed with Tessa on speaker. My hand moved to my stomach without me thinking. The baby shifted softly, like my body was reminding me there was still life inside the wreckage. What does the notice say? I asked. Tessa chose her words carefully. It says Sienna Vale claimed Derek had a personal relationship with her, and she believed he needed to respond about a pregnancy. My throat closed. A pregnancy? Yes, Tessa said. But listen to me, Mara. Do not make her the center yet. The important thing right now is the date. I stared at the wall. The date. Tessa read it out loud. It was 4 days before Derek asked me when the baby was likely conceived. 6 days before he started talking about trust. 9 days before he asked if my baby was even his. The room became too still. For weeks, Derek had made me feel dirty. He had made me feel like I had to prove my body, my loyalty, and my child's right to exist. But this notice showed something different. His suspicion had not started inside our home. It had started somewhere else, with someone else. Tessa explained that the notice did not prove every detail by itself. It did not prove what Derek had done, and it did not prove what Sienna wanted. But it proved one thing that mattered. Derek had been warned about another woman's pregnancy before he accused me of cheating. That changed the whole story. He was not a confused husband searching for answers. He was a man with a fire behind him, trying to throw smoke in front of me. I asked Tessa if Sienna was lying. She might be, Tessa said. She might not be. That is not the first question. What is? Why did Derek receive that notice and then turn around and accuse you? I closed my eyes, because if he could make me look guilty first, maybe nobody would look closely at him. The thought was so ugly I wanted to push it away, but it fit too well. It fit the calendar questions. It fit the private DNA test. It fit the quiet separation paper. It fit the way he panicked when I copied the official report. A pressure layer had opened under my feet. This was no longer just my word against Derek's. There was another woman, another pregnancy, another timeline, Another reason he needed me weak before anyone asked what he had done. That evening, Derek texted me from the other side of the house. Derek, we need to stop involving outsiders. I looked at the message and felt colder than angry. Outsiders. That was what he called people who could prove things. I typed one sentence, then deleted it. Then I typed it again. Who is Sienna Vale? For almost 3 minutes, the message showed delivered. No answer. Then I heard his footsteps stop in the hallway outside my bedroom door. He did not knock. He just stood there. And for the first time, I knew Derek was not waiting for me to explain myself. He was trying to figure out how much I already knew. Derek stood outside my bedroom door for so long that the silence became louder than knocking. I sat on the bed with my phone in my hand, staring at the message I had sent him. Who is Sienna Vale? He did not answer by text. He answered by waiting. Finally, I opened the door. He was standing in the hallway with his arms at his sides. His face was blank, but his eyes were moving too fast. What are you doing, Mara? He asked. I looked at him for a second and felt something inside me go still. I asked you a question. His jaw tightened. You're letting that lawyer poison you. No, I said. I'm letting dates speak. That made him blink. I stepped into the hallway, but kept the bedroom door open behind me. I did not want to feel trapped. I did not want him between me and the room where my phone, my notes, and the DNA report were safe. Tessa found a notice, I said. It was dated before you accused me. Derek's face changed. Only a little, but I saw it. What notice? Sienna Vale. He laughed once, short and ugly. You do not know what you're talking about. Then explain it. There is nothing to explain. That is not an answer. His voice dropped. You're pregnant and emotional. You are taking random things and building a story because you do not want to face what this looks like. There it was again. The old trap. Make me sound unstable. Make my pain sound like proof against me. Make my questions sound like panic. But this time, I had dates. I opened my phone and read from the notes I had made. You received that notice before you started asking about conception dates. Before you asked if the doctors were sure. Before you told me men are always the last to know. Before you asked if the baby was yours. Derek stared at the phone like he wanted to knock it out of my hand. Stop documenting me, he said. No. His eyes flashed. You think you're smart because you saved some texts? I think I'm done answering questions while you hide from yours. For the first time, he looked more scared than angry. Then he made his mistake. She was trying to scare me, he snapped. That is all that notice was. I froze. I had not told him what the notice said. I had only said Sienna's name. Derek must have realized it too, because his mouth closed hard. I took one slow breath. Scare you about what? He looked away. The hallway felt colder. Derek, I said, what was Sienna trying to scare you with? He shook his head. You need to stop. No, you called me a cheater while I was carrying your child. You pushed for a private test. You put a separation agreement in front of me. And now there is another woman with a notice dated before all of it. His face twisted. You're making yourself look crazy. I almost smiled, but there was no joy in it. That used to work on me. His eyes narrowed. What does that mean? It means I'm not arguing with you anymore. I stepped back into the bedroom and closed the door before he could answer. Then I locked it, sat at the edge of the bed, and typed down every word he had just said. She was trying to scare me. That sentence mattered. I did not know exactly how yet, but I knew it had cracked something open. When I sent it to Tessa, her reply came fast. Good. Now we ask for the money trail. Now we ask for the money trail. Tessa's message stayed on my screen like a warning. At first, I did not understand why money mattered. Derek had called me a cheater. He had questioned my baby. He had pushed for a private DNA test and a quiet separation. I thought the truth would be found in messages, dates, and the legal notice from Sienna Vale. But Tessa saw a bigger shape. People tell stories with words, she told me the next morning, but they prepare with money. That sentence made my skin go cold. I still had access to our shared accounts then. Derek had not locked me out yet, maybe because he thought I was too emotional to look closely. So I opened the banking app at the kitchen table while he was at work. My hands shook as I scrolled. At first, everything looked normal. Groceries, gas, doctor bills, a baby store charge from weeks before. Then I saw the first transfer. It was not huge, but it had gone from our shared savings into an account I did not recognize. 2 days after the legal notice from Sienna. 3 days before Derek started asking about conception dates. I sent the screenshot to Tessa. Then I kept looking. Another transfer came a week later. Then a change to an automatic payment. Then a new account alert buried in my email, one I had missed because I had been too busy trying to survive Derek's accusations. The money had not vanished all at once. It had moved quietly, like someone sliding furniture in the dark before turning on the lights. When Derek came home that evening, he found me with printed statements spread across the table. He stopped in the doorway. "What is this?" he asked. I did not look up. "Records." His face tightened. "You're digging through our accounts now." "Our accounts," I said. He tossed his keys onto the counter. "I moved money because things were unstable." "No," I said quietly. "You moved money before you told me things were unstable." That made him pause. I pointed to the dates. He did not step closer. "You do not understand finances," he said. Maybe that line would have worked on me before. Maybe I would have felt small and closed the folder. But the dates were sitting in front of me like stones. "I understand before and after," I said. His mouth tightened. "You're turning this into a war." "No, Derek. I'm finding out when you started one." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he grabbed the top page from the table. I stood up fast. "Put it down." He froze. So did I. My voice had come out stronger than I expected. Derek looked at the paper in his hand, then at me. For 1 second, I saw the old control in his face, the look that said he expected me to back down. I did not. He dropped the page. "It was just planning," he said. That was the closest thing to the truth he had said all week. After he left the room, I took photos of every statement and emailed them to Tessa. I included the transfer dates, the agreement date, the legal notice date, and the first day Derek accused me. Tessa called within the hour. "Mara," she said, "these dates are not random." I sat down slowly. She read them back to me in order. First, Sienna's notice. Then, Derek's money movement. Then, his questions about my pregnancy timeline. Then, the accusation. Then, the separation agreement. I pressed one hand against my stomach and closed my eyes. For the first time, the story did not feel like broken pieces. It felt like a map, and every road on that map led back to the same ugly truth. Derek had not reacted to a fear. He had built a plan. Tessa's voice softened. "I need you to come to my office tomorrow," she said. "There is something I want to show you when all of this is laid out together." The next morning, I sat across from Tessa Grant in her office while she laid my marriage across her desk in paper. Not memories, not feelings. Paper, printed screenshots, bank records, the separation draft, my doctor appointment dates, the official DNA test request, Derek's messages, the legal notice with Sienna Vale's name at the top. Tessa did not rush. She placed each page in order, one by one, like she was building a road I had been walking in the dark. First came Sienna's notice, then the first money transfer, then Derek's questions about how far along I was, then the comments about trust, then the first time he asked if the baby was his, then the private DNA test pressure, then the separation agreement, then the official DNA result that proved he was the father. When Tessa finished, she turned the pages toward me. "This is the exhibit," she said. I stared at it. The word sounded too formal for something that felt like a knife. But that was what it was. A hidden truth, laid out where I could finally see it. Derek had not accused me because he had a reason to doubt me. He accused me after Sienna's notice arrived. He accused me after he started moving money. He accused me after he began checking my pregnancy dates like he was building a defense. I touched the edge of the DNA report with one finger. So he knew. I whispered. Tessa looked at me carefully. The records do not show what was in his head, but they show what he did. That answer mattered. It kept me from turning pain into guesses. What the records showed was enough. Derek had received notice about another woman's pregnancy. Then he moved money. Then he questioned my pregnancy. Then he tried to push me toward a private test and a quiet separation. He did not need me guilty. He needed me doubted. My phone buzzed on the desk. Derek. I did not answer. It buzzed again. Then a message appeared. Derek, whatever your lawyer thinks she has, she does not know the full story. Tessa read it without touching my phone. Take a screenshot, she said. I did. Another message came in. Derek, you are going to regret making me defend myself. My chest tightened, but my hand stayed steady. I saved that one too. For the first time, his threats did not make me feel smaller. They made the exhibit feel stronger. Because Derek was not asking what I had found. He was already trying to explain it away. Tessa leaned back in her chair. He is going to say the money was normal planning. He is going to say Sienna's notice was false pressure. He is going to say your pregnancy questions came from fear. He is going to say the separation paper was only a draft. I swallowed. And the DNA test. That is the problem for him, she said. The DNA test destroys the reason he gave for all of it. I looked down at the pages again. The official result did more than prove my baby belonged to Derek. It proved his accusation had no place to stand. And once that lie fell, every document under it became visible. Tessa gathered the pages into one clean folder. We are not going to fight him with emotion, she said. We are going to put the timeline where he has to answer it. I held my stomach and nodded. Where? Her face was calm. In the official room, she said, with the records in front of him. The official room was smaller than I expected. It was not a courtroom. There was no judge, no crowd, no dramatic wooden bench. Just a conference table, 2 attorneys, a stack of documents, and the man who had tried to bury me under a lie. Derek sat across from me with his own attorney beside him. He did not look at my stomach. He looked at the folder in front of Tessa. That told me everything. Tessa began with the DNA report. She placed it in the center of the table, turned so Derek could read the result clearly. Probability of paternity, 99.9999%. Derek Ellison was the father. The room stayed quiet. For weeks, Derek had acted like the question was whether I had cheated. But in that room, with the official lab result between us, that question was dead. Tessa spoke calmly. This report confirms Mr. Ellison is the biological father of Mara's baby. Derek leaned back. I never said I was sure she cheated. I almost turned toward him, but Tessa had warned me not to chase every lie, so I stayed still. Tessa opened the next page. These are his messages, she said. He repeatedly accused her of hiding the real father. He pressured her to admit something. He also pushed for a private test instead of an official one. Derek's mouth tightened. I was scared, he said. I had doubts. Tessa nodded once, like she had expected that answer. Then she placed Sienna Vale's notice beside the DNA report. This notice came before those doubts began. Derek's attorney looked down at the date. Derek looked at the wall. Tessa continued. 4 days before he questioned the pregnancy timeline. 9 days before the direct accusation. Derek's voice sharpened. That notice was nothing. Sienna was trying to scare me. I felt the old pain rise in my chest. but this time it did not own me. Tessa slid another paper forward. These financial transfers began 2 days after the notice. Then another page. This separation agreement was drafted before the official DNA result. Then another. These messages show Mr. Ellison asking Mara to keep the matter private and avoid attorneys. The table was quiet again. Not empty quiet. Heavy quiet. Derek tried to laugh, but it came out thin. So what? I moved money because our marriage was unstable. Tessa looked at him. Your records show the money moved before you told Mara the marriage was unstable. His face changed. Only a little, but everyone saw it. He shifted in his chair. I was trying to protect myself. From what? Tessa asked. Derek did not answer. That silence was louder than any confession. Tessa did not need to shout. She did not need to call him names. She only put the dates in order. Sienna's notice, money movement, pregnancy timeline questions, cheating accusation, private DNA pressure, separation draft, official DNA result. Each page landed softer than a slap, but it hit harder. Derek's whole defense had been built on one idea, that I had given him a reason to doubt me. But the official DNA test destroyed that reason. And once that reason was gone, the rest of his story had nowhere to hide. He had not been reacting to my betrayal. He had been preparing for his own. Derek looked at me then. For the first time since this started, he did not look angry. He looked exposed. You wanted to ruin me, he said. I shook my head slowly. No, Derek, you demanded proof. My voice did not shake. And proof answered. Tessa closed the folder. The room did not explode. No one yelled. No one clapped. No one needed to. The truth had done what I could not do alone. It had walked into the room with dates, records, and one official DNA result. And when it left, Derek's lie did not leave with it. It stayed behind on the table, broken into pieces he could no longer pick up. But the strangest part was this. The moment his story collapsed, I did not feel free yet. I only understood that now, finally, there would be consequences. After the official room, Derek did not walk out like a man who had won anything. He walked out quiet. That scared me more than his yelling ever had, because silence was what people used when they had no clean lie left. His attorney asked for time to review the records again. Tessa did not object. She only said the financial transfers, the separation draft, the messages, and the DNA report all needed to stay preserved. Preserved. That word felt small, but it changed everything. Derek could not pretend the messages were just anger. He could not pretend the money moved after our marriage broke. He could not pretend the separation paper was a sudden idea. And he could not pretend the DNA test proved anything against me. The test had proved the opposite. The quiet agreement he wanted me to sign disappeared first. His attorney stopped pushing it across the table like it was fair. The draft that had made me feel trapped now looked like exactly what it was, a paper Derek had prepared while trying to make me look guilty. Tessa told me in simple words what had changed. He lost the story he was using for pressure, she said. That was his first punishment. Not jail, not screaming, not some wild movie ending. Credibility. He lost the clean version of himself. Then came the money. The transfers he had called normal planning became something he had to explain with dates. Every answer made the timeline worse for him. If he said the marriage was unstable, the records showed he had moved money before he told me anything was wrong. If he said he was afraid the baby was not his, the DNA report showed the accusation had no truth under it. If he said Sienna's notice meant nothing, the dates showed his behavior changed right after it arrived. Every door he tried to open led back to the same hallway. Sienna's notice, money movement, pregnancy questions, false accusation, private test pressure, separation draft, DNA proof. Derek had wanted me weak before the truth reached him. Instead, the truth reached him with receipts. The social part came slower, but it came. I did not post anything. I did not send dramatic messages. I did not beg people to choose sides. But Derek had already talked. He had hinted to people that I had betrayed him. He had acted wounded. He had let others believe there was doubt around my pregnancy. So when the official result became part of the record, his whispers had nowhere to stand. A few people stopped calling him. One person who had avoided me sent a short message. "Mara, I am sorry. I should not have believed anything without asking you." I stared at that message for a long time. It did not fix what had happened, but it showed me something important. A lie can travel fast, but proof walks in heavy. And when proof arrives, it does not need to shout. Derek tried one last time to control me. He sent a message late at night. "You got what you wanted. Are you happy now?" I read it twice. Then I saved it. I did not answer, because that was his final punishment too. He no longer got to turn my silence into fear. He no longer got to pull me into a room and make me defend my own name. He no longer got to use my baby as a shield for his betrayal. By the end of that week, Derek had lost the agreement he wanted, the story he built, the clean image he protected, and the power to make me look like the guilty one. But when the house finally went quiet, I learned something I was not ready for. His karma did not heal me by itself. It only cleared the space where healing could begin. Healing did not arrive like a big moment. It came quietly. It came the first morning I woke up and did not check my phone before I touched my stomach. It came when I walked into the kitchen and did not feel the need to defend myself to the empty room. It came when I made tea in the same place where Derek had once pushed that separation paper toward me, and my hands did not shake. The house still held memories, but it no longer held me. The nursery was the hardest room to enter at first. For weeks, it had felt like proof of everything he tried to stain. The half-painted wall, the tiny white socks, the dresser with one drawer still open. I used to stand in that doorway and feel like Derek's accusation had reached even there, like his doubt had touched my baby before my baby had even taken a breath. But one afternoon, I went in with a clean cloth, a small box, and a steady heart. I folded the tiny socks again. This time, I did not cry. I put the DNA report in a folder with the legal papers and placed it in the bottom drawer of my desk. Not because it stopped mattering. It would always matter. But because I no longer needed to hold proof in my hands to feel innocent. The truth had already spoken. Tessa helped me make sure the records stayed safe. The accounts were being reviewed. The agreement Derek wanted me to sign was gone. The official result was protected. The story he built around me had broken where it needed to break. But my life could not be only about what broke him. It had to become about what saved me. Derek still sent messages for a while. Some were angry. Some were soft. Some sounded like the old him, trying to find a door back into my heart. I did not answer most of them. That silence was not fear anymore. It was a boundary. And maybe that is the hardest part of stories like this. When someone uses your silence to protect their lie, do you owe the whole truth to everyone who believed them? Or is choosing peace also a kind of justice? I learned that quiet justice does not always look like revenge. Sometimes it looks like a woman closing a folder, breathing without guilt, and refusing to raise her child inside someone else's shame. Tell me what you think. And subscribe when you are ready, because some endings are not about destroying the person who hurt you. They are about finally belonging to yourself again. That night, I sat in the nursery with one hand on my stomach and the window open. The room smelled like fresh paint and clean cotton. For the first time in months, I did not feel like I was waiting for Derek to believe me. I did not feel like I was waiting for anyone. My baby moved under my palm, soft and real. And I whispered the truth I had fought so hard to keep. You were never the mistake. Then I turned off the light, left the door open, and walked into the quiet house like it was finally mine.